show you a little bit. How many of you do not listen to the Bailey Report? Okay. We've got one! Bailey Report virgin. Okay. And how many of you know your sun, moon, and rising sign? It is probably a good majority. And then, how many of you know what degree your Venus is? Okay. And how many of you don't even know what that means? Okay. So we have a little bit of a wide range. How many of you skip the first part of the Bailey Report and go on to the last part? Yeah, there's always a couple of those. Oh my God. So, geez, where do we want to go then? Hopefully, I'll say at least, one thing that makes sense to you in the next 2 hours. But, yeah, so, the title of this talk, I think, is What the Bleep is Going On. Yeah? And there is a lot going on. And what is going on for us as individuals, okay, is really dependent upon a number of different factors. So, the first thing that I would like to bring up is just the whole idea, okay, and this afternoon's talk is going to have a lot to do with what we call the evolutionary stages. How many of you would be familiar with the evolutionary stages? Okay, so I'm going to talk today about what's going on, but it's going to be in accordance with those stages. And those stages are basically having to do with that, number one, we are infinite spiritual beings. Unlimited potential. Absolutely free. Outside time and space. We are eternal spiritual beings. Yes! And then we say, what we would like to do is express Creator in a new way through matter, through time and space. So we want to squeeze that multi-dimensional self into what we call a soul. And that soul is going to incarnate into the third dimension of time and space material existence. It's like the big squeeze. And so we come down to Earth, the school of Gaia, we can call it. Yeah? And just like any school, there's good teachers and there's bad teachers. There's subjects that you like, and there's subjects that you don't like. Yeah? So there's a lot of different things going on as we move through to gain a sense of mastery and express something absolutely unique. We are the expanding universe. We are Creator witnessing itself in new ways. Yeah? So as our consciousness expands, it's just reflective of the universe expanding. As above, so below. As without, so within, right? So it's like, the more we get in touch with our unique creative genius, it's like, oh yeah, just Source goes, oh, I never saw that before. And everybody else goes, oh yeah, wow, I never saw that before. And there it goes. The universe is expanded thanks to you. Yeah. So we are, we're moving through these different stages. We're moving through this school. We are mastering, okay, ourselves, our physical body, our emotions, our mind, our soul. In Kundalini Yoga, there are 10 bodies. Yeah? So we've got lots of bodies to master. Yeah? And then, the ultimate thing is that we move through these different stages, and then, like Buddha or Christ or whatever, you don't have to come back. It's like, hasta luego. Okay, so much third dimension. I think I'll head off to the fifth. Try another planet in Andromeda. So we just, we can kind of, just kind of go through this. So this is the foundation, for, the work that I do, is that astrology is not a limiting factor. It's not a personality profile. Okay, it's not limiting you in any way, shape, or form. However, it does say that as a soul, with the help of other ascended masters, angel beings, however you want to describe them or look at them, souls and beings that are smarter than you, basically, help you choose that DNA and that DNA. That gender, that economic status, that language, that city, that uncle and aunt. It's like, so what your chart says is that it's all chosen, unconsciously, spiritually, so that when you draw that first breath, snapshot. The macrocosm mirrors the microcosm. Okay, it's not Newtonian physics of cause and effect. It's quantum physics, where we are in the field, and every part of the field reflects holographically every other part of the field. So when you look at all of the way that the constellations are set up at the time, at that moment, it's like, that's my entry. That's the moment I picked. And it reflects my past lives, all the other times that I've been here, and what I'm working on, what I'm doing, the gifts that I've got, okay, the things that I want to do over, things I've never done before, things that I screwed up and I want to do again, somebody else I wanted to meet and spend a little more time with, seems to be coming in down the street over there. Yeah. So we look at the chart, when we look at the chart, I look at, okay, where you're coming from and where the soul wants to evolve to, what the point is or what the purpose is for this incarnation. And then we can look at the transits. So the transits is what's going on right now. And that's what the Pele report is about. That's what I talk about. That's just like, the ocean that the fish are swimming in. So it's our surroundings, it's our environment. But we're all going to relate to our environment in different ways. So let's talk about these evolutionary stages. First of all, there is the newly evolved. Okay? Just came from another galaxy, just came from the 15th dimension. I've got no idea what the third dimension is, what gravity is, what my body is, what anything is. I've got Down syndrome, or I'm, autistic, or I've got, I'm just brand new. Just coming in. Wow. So I drop stuff and go, wow. Look at that. And I'm just I'm starting to pick it up. Yeah? So I may have all kinds of other, multi-dimensional talents and consciousness and everything, but when it comes to the 3D, it's brand new. This is maybe 1% or less of a given population. And many lifetimes, we move way more into what we call the consensus stage. The consensus stage is 3/4 of the world's population. It's 3/4 of just about any population. These are the people who vote. These are the people, who govern. These are the people who work. Usually 9 to 5. Okay, these are the people that are learning from external authority. I call it, it's ruled by Saturn, Chronos, time and space, objectivity. Give me a set of rules, give me a set of instructions, tell me what success is, tell me how to fulfill myself, just, help me out here. Give me a job. Give me something to do, give me, some, good loving, whatever, give me some good beer, whatever they do in Amsterdam. I understand they do everything in Amsterdam. But, so it's just, but this, this is also then that I am following recipes, I'm following instructions, I'm following the Pope, the billionaire, the scientist, the politician. I'm following, my parents or someone who is, a guru telling me what's good, what's bad, what's right, what's wrong, what's up, what's down, what's in, what's out. I mean, it's like yeah. So, I'm caught. I can easily slip into victim. I can easily slip into blame. You told me wrong. It's and I can project, okay, all of it out there. I mean, and so this can be happening. And so what we can say is 3 out of 4 people, okay, over these next few years are going to be experiencing a tremendous shift, a tremendous change, and it's going to be happening to them. Yeah. Yeah, and they are going to, oh my God, I mean, and I'm talking about, look at this, check this out, talk about super cool. This is the wrong chart. Well, this is the talk, like this is 4 o'clock, this is like right now. So I just wanted to show you, we have a Libra rising, this will change, as the hours go by, but the sun is in the 8th house, okay, so we're going to go deep. Right? Mars is at the midheaven, so we're going to get all ticked off, right? And we're coming down here in the 4th house with South Node, Saturn, and Pluto. Heavy. It's time for a heavy talk. You guys ready to get heavy? Oh my God. But what I like to do, and what I always do with the Paleo report, is I use Aries rising. It's called the natural horoscope. So it kind of lines up. Not that one. I did touch it. So this is just like where. Uh-oh. Did I blow it, man? There's the transits. I did. Lo siento. Un momento, por favor. Yeah. Okay. So, we're talking about Saturn, Pluto, south node of the moon, all together here in Capricorn in the 10th house, okay? These are the houses. There's 12 houses. Things start over here. This is the horizon, okay? This is what's rising, so things are rising. The moon just rose. These change every 2 hours, right? 12 times 2 is 24 hours. This whole thing goes around every 24 hours, right? Mess with time a little bit, baby. Okay, anyway, so, the moon, but let's get serious here. This is time for serious talk. Okay. So, what we've got, is basically that, this Saturn, this 3/4 of the world's population, this consensus, stage of evolution, it has to do with, there's 3 stages in there, okay, and that is, I call it the hamburger flipper, the manager, and the owner, yeah, okay? So it's like, you have 100 lifetimes, okay, just working for the man, or the woman, right? Nowadays it's more the women, and that's coming more and more. But, so we're we're learning, and then we get to be managers. We get a little nicer house, we get a little nicer car, we get some better clothes. We've been, at it for 100 lifetimes, and we own, we manage, okay, the hamburger joint. And then a couple hundred lifetimes, keeping that together until like, oh yeah, I'm on top of the game. I'm the Trump. Okay, I'm the doctor, I'm the lawyer, I'm the politician, I've got all kinds of money, I got the physical world of time and space pretty well down, pretty well mastered, okay? But I'm still very much in the present. The thing about the consensus is it's the present. And I'm not looking at, ancient texts. I'm not expanding my consciousness into Star Trek and the future and things like that. I'm just pretty much, okay, the latest. What's in the newspapers, what the scientists say, who the gurus are, the billionaires right now. I'm going to listen to these present day authorities. I'm just kind of a simple. And then when I went to the top, I make the laws. I make the rules. I decide what's cool, what's fashionable. I could be a Hollywood movie star, okay, a musician up there, setting the stage for what is fulfillment, what is success, da-da-da-da-da. But there comes a point, there comes a lifetime where you're on the top and you've got all the power and the money and the this and the that and the other thing, the men and the women, and you've got it all down and all mastered, but present day medicine, present day psychology, present day religion, present day billionaires don't fulfill you, don't solve your problems. The pharmaceutical companies can't heal your schizophrenic son, and and your partner dies of cancer, and the doctors can't heal it, and the priest abuses your child, and all the authority figures let you down. And you move into the next stage, the individuated stage. It's ruled by the planet Uranus. Yeah? Uranus, right over here in Taurus, 4 degrees, 23 minutes. Uranus, Prometheus, the light bearer, the rebel, the revolutionary that says, you know what? I'll be my own boss. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. I'll be the author of my own life. Thank you very much. I want to blow up the parliament and blow up the EU and blow up the church and get rid of everything. You know what I'm saying, The first couple of lifetimes are marked with anger. It's like, I've been lied to, I've been let down, I've been cheated, I've been... But then, progressively, you do become more and more autonomous, more independent, more creative, more genius. You start developing this whole capacity. You start getting maybe into astrology, listening to the Paley Report, showing up at the Conscious Club. Yes! Uranus rules the individuated unconscious, right? So, this is, so we're becoming conscious of our unconscious, right? So, this group of souls, this is 20% of any given population. This is 1 out of 5 people, okay, can show up here, all right, and be a little outside. Maybe feel alienated, isolated, outside the system, like I don't belong on this planet, or I don't belong in this country, or I don't belong in, on this continent, or it's just like, I'm different. I'm different. Sometimes it gets to the point where you kind of get a little stuffy, I'm a little bit smarter than the rest of you. And everyone is so dumb and so slow. And it's just such a planet of barbarians and cavemen, and it's disgusting. Oh, really? Could they just wake up? We won't go too far into that. But sometimes it's it kind of gets lonely at the top. But what happens is, okay, through this series of lifetimes, you do become more creative, more conscious, more awake, more aware. You become Da Vinci and Einstein and Steve Jobs. You become, okay, a creative genius in your own right, in your own way, in your own field. Usually art, but it can be also science and technology and things like this, where it's like, oh yeah, nobody's ever. We were watching what, Banksy? Banksy. It's like, you become something, you deliver something or create something that's like blows everybody's mind. I say it on the Baylor Report all the time, right? What is it? Raise people's eyebrows, drop people's jaws, blow people's minds. Okay, this is Uranus. Yeah? And then there comes a point where, oh, guess what? I have to go out of my mind. The wave separates from the sea and becomes the individuated white water, bubble or drop of the crashing surf. But the wave then returns to the sea. Yeah? So this process of individuation, specialization, individuation, glorification of the self. I'm from Amsterdam, where anything goes. We are the leading edge of civilization on this planet. Whatever, and you come into this, what they call the spiritual stage. 5% or 4% of any given population then is about, I'm going from my head, my genius, my knowledge, my unique, amazing self, and it's not about me anymore. Shh, I'm going to my heart. I'm going from the head to the heart. I'm going from knowing to feeling, loving, being. I am going from individuation into unity consciousness, into oneness. I throw myself in devotion at the foot of, the guru or the teacher. I just really am about, yes, returning to source, the source that created me. So we have in, evolutionary astrology, with Jeffrey Wolf Green, is all about the dualistic coexisting desires. One is to separate from the source, and the other is to return to the source. Every desire you've got boils down to one of those two. And it's a necessary evolutionary process to separate, individualize, create something special, unique, brand new. But the next step up, if you really want to get out of here, if you really want to get off this planet, if you want to get on to the next dimensions and the next, it comes into, my sense is you have to love everything about this place. I'm not there yet. It's like, and of course that starts with yourself, because everything is kind of this mirror, it's this Maya, it's this illusion, it's this, like projection, turning you just like as above, so below, as without, so within, as within, so without. When you come into a place, just think of it. If we've been here hundreds or maybe thousands of lifetimes, this is nothing. Lemuria came and went. Atlantis rose and went. This is just another fucking lifetime. You know what I'm saying? It's not about all the politics of the day. What's going to happen with the European Union? You can go there, but it's not going to necessarily move you as a soul to the next dimension, to the next place. You see? So it's like really evaluating, how am I spending my time? What am I delving and thinking and putting my energy into? How eternal is it? How temporary is it? Right? You know, am I really utilizing this lifetime, this existence, to its maximum potential? And of course, that's where astrology comes in. Gotcha. Yes! I have to look at my chart. See what's going on in my personal unconscious mind, so that my little ego, my little 10%, can become a little more aware of the 90% of what is happening. Yeah? So I'm going to be talking today is about what's going on. Okay, well, it's what's going on outside. We can talk about that. Or we can talk about what's going on inside. And that's what I try to do a little more of. That's what New Paradigm Astrology is about, is looking, you know, using the outside to see the dynamics of what's going on inside. So we want to just kind of understand, you know, I want to be looking at this in terms of, well, you know, I meant to say that the spiritual stage, so like Neptune, yeah? Neptune, Pisces, 12th house, selflessness, egolessness, but also escapism, denial, avoidance. Let me out of here. I want to just dream, or just, you know, not get out of bed, or the bathtub, or I want to, you know, take another hit, or this or that or the other thing. It's just like, yes. It can be meditation, okay? You know, it can be, you know, moving into altered states of consciousness without substances, or with substances. But one way or the other, you're in another state of consciousness. Okay, so one lifetime you will do it without any substances. Yeah. Those will no longer be necessary. So what we want to look at now, really, let's go for it. Technical. Bring it down to earth a little bit, out of the, you know, woo-woo. Into the brass tacks, time and space. Okay, so what's going on? Well, first of all, yeah. 26, I'm going to do this real fast. Ready? 26,000 year cycle. The Kali Yuga, the precession of the equinoxes. Okay? You know, the Aries point moves a degree every 72 years. Ting, 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 ting. And through the last 2,000 years, it's been ting, ting, tinging through Pisces. The constellation of Pisces. And that equal point of the, you know, the spring equinox is now right here on the cusp between Pisces and Aquarius. For the first time in, like I say, you know, 26,000 years. What I think is even more important, okay, is it's not so much the Aries point, but the winter solstice of 0 degrees Capricorn has been moving through ding, 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 ding. And it's coming around to the galactic center. At galactic center. So this says that within that 26,000 year cycle, we are hitting a turning point. Right? So this, you know, this is a turning point within at least, we'll take that 26,000 divided by 4 and we've got 6,500. And we have been in the patriarch for 6,500 years. So, and I would say probably the matriarchy was 6,500 years before that. Right? And then before that we have, like, you know, prior Atlantis or whatever, Neo-Archaic. But we go through these time periods, and to me it has a lot to do with the yin and the yang, the balancing of the masculine and the feminine, the understanding of what it is to be human, of what it is to be masculine, feminine, man, woman, gender, understanding. This whole matriarchal, patriarchal, how socio-cultural, religious conditioning lays out what is going on. So the whole planet is going through this massive 26,000 year transition. And we all said, oh my God, I've got to incarnate. This is it. The show is on. Well, this is the show, folks. You thought you might be signing up for something else, now didn't you? Okay. So, so what you got then, okay, is not only that, but then we have this big thing with the whole masculine, feminine, yin yang, patriarchy, matriarchy. And then we also have the switch from Pisces to Aquarius. That happens, what, every 2,160 years or so. Yeah, because you can't tell. Who knows where the constellation of Pisces stops and where Aquarius starts anyway. The constellations are not 30 degrees. This is just like superimposed by some guy, I'm sure. Let's make it orderly and structured, and that's very masculine. Let's make it clean and clear. Anyway, it's not. It's life. So what we have is this transition, and I say, for this transition to occur, if it's 2,000 years, we've got to give it 100 years, from 1950 to 2050. It's just a rough kind of a time that I would say, okay? That was the beginning of the women's movement, 1950 or so, and by 2050 we're going to be just barely beginning Aquarius. So Pisces in astrology rules what? Dreams, unconsciousness, sleep, innocence, naivety. Just open like, the sheep, the lamb. I love you, I want you, thank you. Tell me, what can I be? What can I do? I'm dreaming. Is this a dream? It's Dorothy. Oh God, And Aquarius, okay, Aquarius is Doctor Who. Right, Aquarius is like Back to the Future. Laser, 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 it's awake. Yeah, so this is the collective unconscious coming into the collective conscious. This is like all of our unconscious becoming conscious. Do you realize how overwhelming that is? That's 90% overtaking the 10%. It's kind of like, whoa, please, slow down. I feel a tidal wave coming. So this is like the great alarm clock going off. It's like, wake up. Yeah? And Mother Nature, Gaia, evolution, the larger, larger forces of intelligence. I like to call it divine intelligence. It just helps me sleep. But there's a plan. There's a plan. It's going on. You can see it in the stars and in the charts and everything. And so it's kind of nice to just, okay, this too shall pass. Okay, but so we have this waking up from what I call Pisces as ether. No substance, no tangible anything, just like whoa, what, where, how, when, infinite potential. But in the meantime, nothing. How Pisces can be everything, and then 10 minutes later be nothing? Yeah. Kind of, woo! Am I invisible or am I God? So this is Pisces. And then we go, and then we move into Aquarius, which I call outer space. Outer space. Yeah. It's not an air sign. I think I've gone into this in the Paleo report. You see, this is the 12th sign and the 11th sign, right? So everything goes all the way around this wheel of evolution. And these are this is like having so much to do with this whole collective, very impersonal. So it's like really moving into, Aquarius is the World Wide Web, it's technology, it's science, it's just like waking up to this is the way it is, this is what the Hubble telescope is telling us the universe is like out there, and this is, it's just like very objective, impersonal, non-attached to a particular agenda, outcome. It's just science, pure science. You know, not tobacco industry science, you know, or pharmaceutical industry science. We're talking pure science, yeah? So we're coming into this, and we are the forerunners. Like I say, it's a 2,000-year age. We're not going to see the age of Aquarius. We can throw seeds. We can be a seed pod, maybe start a little permaculture community or a little conscious club, or you know, throw something nice out there. But let's give it 3 to 5 generations before anybody is really like, oh yeah, this is Aquarius. Okay, so it's like we're creating something that we don't even know what we're doing. That's great. You got to give yourself some slack. Oh my gosh. So this is, you know, we got this. Then we've got Pluto. Pluto, Shiva, Kali, god of the underworld, destructive, death, ending, finish, done, over. Goes around every 248 years. It rules the process of osmosis and transmutation. Yeah, it's the caterpillar that makes the cocoon, crawls inside, and spits out a chemical that dissolves its body into 100% liquid. Out of the liquid comes the butterfly. This is transmutation. It's not transformation, okay? You know, it's transmutate, like you are mutated. So what you were is no longer. And out of the emptiness, the void, the nothingness, comes the new you. And if you don't melt down all the way, you're a butterfly with a caterpillar tail. It doesn't work.
Just made that one up. That's brand new, man. Yeah, that's just, you know, it just came through. I love that. You guys must be really, you know, something here.
Okay, so butterfly with a caterpillar tail. Anyway, trying to picture that one. It's not working for me. Okay, so what happened? 2008, Pluto comes around into Capricorn. You remember 2008? Crash, right? 2000, the death, okay, of the old, you know, financial system. Okay, the sign of Capricorn has to do with physical financial security through external authorities, following the laws and the rules of the government. And it's just like, what the hell is going on? Are you guys all nuts? We're like, yeah. You could say that. It's one of what you were laughing about for a second. I was like, did I say that wrong? Okay. So, anyway. Pluto goes around, you know, 248 years, and it's in Capricorn from 2008 until 2024. Yeah? Okay, so we got 5 more years, okay, of Pluto moving through the sign of physical financial security through obeying external authorities and the rules and the laws and the governments and the institutions, educational, political, religious, whatever, that are formed and structured and have been, important, right? The patriarchy has to do with Capricorn, and Pluto has to do with death. This is the ending of an old way of governance, of leadership, of, you know, of third dimension, I would say, gaining our sense of security through the material world. and maybe seeing that the material world, I'm sorry, is not secure at all. The material world, okay, has ups and downs and ins and outs, and the financial institutions and the laws and the governments and the volcanoes and the tsunamis, and there's nothing secure, okay, about Gaia. I mean, she's feminine. I had to throw that in. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, whoa, this is not what we're going to find. Okay, it's all temporary. It's time temporal, temporary, right? So it's like, don't be looking for your security here. So everybody's going through this time, and it's not secure. Everybody's insecure right now. Raise your hand if you're secure. Yes! You've gone beyond the material world. Yeah? Okay? But there's a lot of people that are still, okay, in a place of like, oh my goodness. Okay? Who I trusted, who I followed, who I listened to, who told me that, this was going to be happy. This is what fulfillment is. This is what success is, was full of it. Because I've got this, or I don't have it, but it's not worth, and my investments and my retirement are at stake. Yeah. So this is a very unpredictable, period now. And what I focus on is what? 2024, 2025, Milo, when everything's going to be cool. Pluto goes into Aquarius, where it's going to stay for like 20 years. So this is, like, it's the end of Capricorn, but it's the beginning of Aquarius. I think this age of Aquarius is really going to start to take off. Things are really going to lighten up when Pluto moves out of Earth, which is transforming thick, dense, physical matter. Yes, and governments and institutions and all this kind of heavy stuff. And it moves into Aquarius, which is going to be like transforming, transmuting, consciousness. Right? Through, we can say that, science is in its infancy right now. Over the next 10 years, everything is going to be, completely, we probably won't recognize, very much of, what we now take as being the latest. Sorry, man. Right? So this is, so what we can do is, one thing is what you want to focus on. Do you want to focus on the end? A lot of astrologers are going to be focusing on 2020. The Jupiter-Saturn-Pluto conjunction. I'm going to come to that, okay? This is the end. The last time that happened was 2222 BC. Yeah, like 4,000 years ago, we had a Pluto-Saturn-Jupiter conjunction, and it was not even in Capricorn. God knows when the last time we had this particular configuration happening where it is happening. So we are now, okay, like I want to say, we are in what they call the balsamic phase. Here we go. Ready? Let's just do it by months. And I want you to watch Jupiter and Saturn and Pluto, right? So you can see, here we go. Jupiter's going retrograde, then it comes up, oh, bang, right? In December it goes into Capricorn. It keeps going, and then we have, oh shit. Look at it. The technology is like either super cool or super not. Let's get up here. Where are we? I love doing this, This is how I pass my boring evenings. Okay. So here we go. Look at it. Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto. They come together pretty much very strongly, okay, in February of 2020. All right, with Mars. Holy shitters, right? This is 9 months from now, boys and girls, moms and dads. And then, okay, Mars moves on, but still, and then they go retrograde, and they come back again through the summer, until finally, by December, we have the final pass, 23, 25, 28. I mean, they come even closer together, November and December of 2020. So it's February, kind of, you know, June, July, August, and then December. The planets do this whole kind of dance retrograde every year. Okay, as the sun goes around, it's an optical illusion. The planets don't go retrograde, they don't go backwards. Okay, but as the sun, as the Earth is passing the planet, it's like passing a car on the freeway. It could look like it's going backwards. Yeah? So these things tend to happen in the threefoldness. And the threefoldness is that the new comes in with the first pass, new impulse, new intuition, new job, new partner, new start, new. And it's like, oh, if I want that new couch, then it goes retrograde. I've got to get rid of the old couch. And maybe I should, vacuum. Maybe paint the room. Prepare for the new couch. And then the third pass is I get the new couch and it's all done. And if I don't get the new couch, I'm never going to get the new couch. Like, time's up. You know what I mean? Transit's gone. That's not happening anymore. Okay? So we have this kind of a thing going on. And right now, this is even for 2019, you will find around December, January, okay, in late January, all the planets were direct. And it was like time for that new impulse, new thing, new idea, and we are now in the process of reflecting on what needs to go, what needs to change, what I need to modify, what new commitment or discipline or contract or what I need to get rid of or what I did. So we're in this process of adjustment now that will finalize itself and complete itself around October. If you just want a short thing for 2019, okay, this is kind of the flow that is happening now. The retrograde means reflect, redo, remove, right? Just like do all this remodeling, okay? And so many of the planets are retrograde right now. Let me get back a little more to the present time, because I said this talk is what's going on now, not 2020. Very easy to get lost in the future, isn't it? Okay, so what we see here, and for those that have more of astrology, okay, you can see that this is the south node of the moon. The south node of the moon, well, I'm still on Pluto? What time is it? Right, this is Pluto. Let's look at Saturn. Saturn, Lord of Karma. Time, space, consequences, commitment, goals, maturity. All of these things are associated with good old Father Time. What goes around comes around. Yeah? So Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn and is at home. Every 28 years, Saturn goes around. And you'll feel Saturn by a change of goals, a need to reflect, a need to change commitments, maybe breakups or, new contracts that happen when you're 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70, 77. These are the Saturn years. It's the Saturn. We could write a song about that. It's just a Saturn year, dear. Yeah. These come up every 7 years, so this is a 7-year cycle, okay? But in reality, it's closer to a 28, 29-year cycle. I'm not going to get too lost in it. But from December of 2017 to December of 2020, Saturn is spending 3 years in his home sign, coming home to roost, okay? Comfortable here, okay? Saturn, authority, father time, lord of karma, says, guess what? This goes and this stays. I mean, there's no gray area with Saturn. It's your corporation is either going to make money or it's going to go away. Right? Saturn is very crystal clear. Okay? You either make it or break it. There's none of this half-assed kind of like, well, you know, give me time. Sorry, right? Time's up. Yeah? You know, it's just like, you know, oh, well, you know, maybe. I kind of love you. Saturn is like, you're in or you're out. It's black or it's white. It's positive or negative. It's up or down. It's, yeah, success or failure. So when it comes into its own sign of Capricorn, it's having a heyday. You know, who's in charge? Who's the boss? Okay, you know, this is very ambitious. This is super ambitious. And Saturn comes into this conjunction with Pluto. It already did. It came very close. Saturn came up to 20 degrees. Pluto was at 23. In astrology, 3 degrees is close enough to call it a conjunction. Conjoined together. So they came together. Now you can see Saturn as that little R is retrograde. It's going retrograde with the moon's node. And watch, I mean, this is like super cool, at least for astrology. Saturn goes together with the south node, right? The south nodes, the moon's nodes, I'm going to get to them, they always go retrograde. But you can see that Saturn and the moon's node go together within a couple of degrees. See them 17, 15, you know, the moon's node comes down, 16, 14. Your time is flying by. August, September, they're still together. Finally, Saturn goes direct September 16th and leaves the freaking moon's node alone. And really, okay, we could say by the end of October, Saturn and the south node of the moon finally begin to separate. Let's look at the south node of the moon. As long as we're here and you're not sleeping. Are you sleeping? Okay. Sun, Earth. Earth goes around the sun, creates a plane. The plane is called the ecliptic. Yeah? So we got the Earth going around on the ecliptic. We got the moon going around the Earth. When she comes up above the ecliptic, north node, dragon's head, future, positive, we like that. And when she goes down, south, dragon's tail, the past, karmic, K2, nasty, some say evil. So it's, yeah. So we've got these two moon's nodes. They're always 180 degrees apart. You can see, oh, there's the north node. I talk about it on the Paleo report. That north node of the moon in Cancer. I'm going to come to that. But I try to save the best until last. So what we have right now, it's confusing. So these two are traveling together. And this is why I'm talking about this as being a time of karma. And as I got together, you could see, I'm not going to do it again for you, but this is what we call a balsamic conjunction, right? Saturn is approaching Pluto. Pluto moves very slowly. Jupiter is approaching Pluto. Pluto moves very slowly. So the rest of 2019, you know, and into 2020, the next year and a half is closing, ending, finishing, completing a 4,000-year cycle. So we have to look at this as kind of a Pisces time. a 12th house time, a balsamic. It's like the old moon before the new moon. They call it the dark moon. Some would say this could be likened to the dark night of the soul. This is a time where things are finishing, where this whole cycle is finishing. And when a cycle finishes, everything that has not been addressed, dealt with, looked at, processed, integrated. Let's all do this together. You guys are sitting. But I think you get it. It's time, right? It's time for things to come up that have been under the carpet, hidden in the closet, deep down in the unconscious, that have been denied, that have been avoided, that have been ignored. It's like, you know what? We can't start the new cycle until you resolve, complete and finish and clean up the old mess. So this is a time, okay, where things are coming up to be resolved and let go. It's end. It's over. It's done. Okay, whether it's the patriarchy or fake democracy or pharmaceutical control or so many things. Okay, maybe some bizarre religions that are like really wacko. Could be the end of those. We hope. No. But it's just a lot of things are going away. And this is really challenging for everyone on every level to deal with. Saturn has to do with grief. Saturn has to do with depression. Saturn has to do with this consolidation. It is Saturnian. It is serious. It is heavy. Yes, it is time, responsibility. And so what I can say is over this next year and a half, each and every one of us, whether you're in the consensus, the individuated, or the spiritual, this whole planet is kind of going through kind of a karmic cleanse, kind of a time of releasing. It's like the toilet flush. Okay? It's just like that has got to go. Kind of stinky. Let's spray a little chemical. I'm sure none of you spray chemicals in the bathroom. Okay, so, but we could light a candle. So, but what I'm saying is, and this is why I was really wanting to, go into, today, bringing, this whole sense of the 7 stages of grief. Because we want to really deal with, and we will all be dealing with, loss. And whenever there is a loss, I don't care if it's a relationship or it's money, or it's your government, or your family, or people you love, or whatever. We're coming into a place where there is a lot of loss, and it is absolutely natural to grieve. And grief has a very negative connotation. It has to do, there's a lot of judgment. Oh, that's being weak. If you miss a day of work because you are grieving, we want you to get back to work as soon as possible, please. We don't have time for grief. Okay, we don't have time to feel our feelings. This is the patriarchy. This is that masculine. This is Saturn, Pluto in Capricorn going, get back on track, get back on the job. You've got a commitment, and you've got done all this, the responsibilities and duties, to God and your country or whoever. There's no time to process. And processing does take time. So we go through these stages of grief. I mean, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but you know, one of the first ones is denial. Shock and denial. That didn't happen. I'm going to Amsterdam. I'll find something to numb me out. You know, it's just like I'm going to distract myself. I'm going to numb myself. I'm going to avoid. I'm going to just like create some bizarre bullshit story about how that just didn't happen. You didn't say that. You didn't leave me. I know this is temporary. I know it's not real. I mean, we can just like make up. That's what the last Pele report was about. I have to watch my stories. I create for what I do. So we want to justify our actions and our lives and our existence. So we make up the most insane stories. And we don't even know we're doing it. It's so unconscious. It's from childhood. It's not even from childhood. It's from past lives. Yeah. It goes way deep down where these patterns and conditions and all this, that this is okay and that's not okay, and it's, you know, this is winning and this is losing, and so I can't lose, and so I've got to pretend about that. I mean, yeah. So that shock, denial, right? You know, that can go on for so long, you know, numbing yourself out, right? But then it does come into, okay, you know, the recognition, okay? And that is this, you know, moment of, oh my God, right? Shock and awe, where it is overwhelming. And this overwhelming then can lead to anger. Why did that happen? Why did you do it? You can go into blame. You can go into all kinds of projections. You can go... I mean, you've got this anger to deal with. And then you can go through, after this anger comes up, okay, then there's this bargaining. Well, you know, I'll stop drinking if you come back. Well, I'll do this, you know, God is, you know, if you just, you know, bring this, bring this back, bring that, you know, make life the way it was in the 50s. Just kidding. But we do this this kind of bargaining with ourselves or with life or with source or whatever. Like, I want it, you know, I can't deal with that loss. And only after we go through these processes, then we go into depression, isolation, and all the feelings really come up. This can take 6 months to move through these different phases and stages. And the friends or the people or the family don't understand. You know, these are internal. This is, you know, processing very deep stuff. This is therapeutic. This is, you know, and this is a healing process. And all I can say is that this opening up of feeling, and this is the north node of the moon in Cancer, okay? And, you know, it basically went in there in May of 2017, okay? And it's in there until May of 2020. So, November of 18, it went into Cancer, last November. Spends a year and a half in the sign. And we say that the south node of the moon is the past. The known, the familiar, the path of destruction or least resistance or non-evolution or devolution. So, you know, going back is going back to doing what you're told, going back to the same old job, following the rules, following the external authorities, you know, just like, you know, holding on to those, you know, commitments no matter what, or putting myself last. The path of the north node of the moon is the path of evolution. It's the unknown, the untried, the unfamiliar. In the sign of Cancer, Cancer is water, ruled by the moon. Feeling, nurturing myself, staying home when I'm not feeling good. Okay, maybe having a little comfort food. Not too much. But just like really, taking the time, and nurturing and healing and feeling. This is very internal. This is the horizon. This is 12 o'clock midnight. This is the deepest down, most internal we're gonna freaking get is May of 2020. And we're just approaching that. And whereas this other is going, this is external. So this is internal, external. This is 12 o'clock noon. This is your reputation, and this is the job, and this is how people see you, and the need to look good, and I'm dependable, I'm respectable. You can trust me. It's like it's the mask we all wear out in the world, so that we have some form of dignity. So now the past is about maintaining that mask. Maintaining that persona, in the face of everybody else, no matter what it takes. And it may empty me, it may drain me, it may weaken me, it may just take, everything I've got to put up this false reality. But the fact of the matter is, with Pluto coming through here, it's time to strip the masks. So we have the Me Too movement. Right? And we have everybody getting exposed, whether they're movie stars or politicians or gurus or teachers or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, no, this is a time of, everything being called out, everybody being called out. Take the mask off, take the mask off. And whether you have been wounded or you are a wounder, right? This is a time, of really going within to the feeling realm. What's the second part of the mantra? The second part of that mantra is because it is the needs and fears that lie beneath, right? That make or break you and me. This getting in touch with our inner world, with our needs, with our emotions, is the path towards growth. This is what I said in the last May report. Evolutionary astrology is all about, you can think anything. You can think you're great. And it's just a thought. You should ask those who are close to you. But you know what I'm saying? We have ideals. We have stories. We make up things on a mental level. Who we really are, is our feelings, and it's our emotions, and it's what we're afraid of, and what we're emotionally attached to, and feel like we can't live without. And it's just like, so this water element, Cancer, Scorpio, and sort of Pisces. Not really Pisces. I said Pisces is either. It's more Cancer and Scorpio. Really is these watery elements of that feminine nature. How many of you know your charts? So you know how many planets you have in the elements of fire, earth, air, and water. Show of hands. Okay. Oh, great. Yeah. And so it's like, we all have different balance of these in our charts, and if you are familiar with your charts, you will know then that, of course, if you have planets from 20 to 25, from 15 to 20 degrees of Capricorn, Cancer, Libra, or Aries, you are getting direct hits. okay? And you decided before you were born, none of this big. It's like, you know what? In 2019, I want to have Pluto smack my frickin' moon. It's like, yeah, I know I'm gonna be ready by then. So it's like, we aligned all this, okay? There's no accidents in astrology. It's like, come on. So, I'm gonna just knock this back because I see it's a little long. Where were we? What day is today? Took you a little long. So, what was I going to say? Go ahead. So how this is happening for you on a personal level can be looked at where you have your particular planets at birth, how this is, what this is bringing up for you. Okay, if it's crossing over your ascendant, if you're a Capricorn rising, and you're having this Saturn, Pluto cross over your ascendant, you're freaking letting go of everything, baby. Yeah, you're starting a new identity. So I think I did a whole thing. I took this Saturn, Pluto, South Node conjunction through each one of the houses in a 2-hour talk that I did that is posted somewhere. You can check that out. I'm not going to do it today. But, this is one particular time period. And as you can see now, right, and this is what I talked about in the Pele report, Mars is going into Cancer. It's going to be in Cancer until July 1st. Talk about Mars. Mars is like fire, okay? And Cancer is water, so it's like putting your pot of water on high. Let's boil those eggs. From now until July 1st, okay, it's going to get pretty hot around here on an emotional level. You just want to be ready and be prepared and, and understand, have compassion for yourself, but please also have a little compassion for the other people in your family. Okay, those close to you. This is a very good time for us to, be processing, like I said, feeling that anger, feeling that frustration, maybe feeling that loss, maybe going into the past. Cancer is the past, the moon, the childhood, what my mom and dad did, going back to the roots of the problem. The roots of our issues, emotional issues, relationship issues, sexual issues, so many issues lie in our past conditioning that it's really, a good time to do some surgery. Mars is scalpels and knives and swords. So let's cut open the past. And just kind of look at, okay, what mom laid on me and what, dad or Aunt Sally or, how this, really, is affecting, and coming up in my, personal environment, relationships now. In some cases, if you've got planets, like I say, on these axes, okay, this can be coming up for you physically. Where your parent, you got to take care of your mom or your dad, or they're in the hospital, or they have, physical problems, or they even die. This is a time where death can be visiting. Okay, very many of us, in this way. The other thing that we want to look at here is it's very interesting because you see Eris over here, the uninvited guest. Yes, the goddess of discord, 24 degrees. You see that little red line with a little red box in it? That little square? To Pluto. Over the next year, all through 2020. Pluto is in square to Eris. Eris goes around like every 1,500 years. Okay, so it's hardly moving at all. We all have Eris in the sign of Aries. Yeah, because it's just been there forever. But what I wanted to just bring up was this is the cardinal cross. So Aries is myself. Libra is partnership and relationship. Home and family and roots, mom and dad. Job, business, vocation, career. This cross, these guys are all at odds with each other. Okay, you know, the squares and the oppositions, you know, they bring a creative tension, as in problems that require creative solutions. Yeah? Because for me to be me, first of all, I have to deal with and confront the other, and I have to break away from my family, and I have to break free and not have so many jobs, duties, obligations, and commitments. For me to have a family, I have to certainly do a little bit of denying, you know, of myself, you know, and you know, if I work too much, I don't even have time for a family, right? You know, and if I have babies or children, they take me away from my partnership and relationship. So I mean, you can go all the way around this cross, okay? And this is where so many of us are having our big challenges and our big issues. Okay, balancing our need for emotional connection and our need for freedom, space, and autonomy, being sovereign to ourselves and with ourselves. So there's a tremendous pressure, okay, on the nature of relationship and relationship dynamics happening over this period of time because it's being challenged, okay, so much by the demands of society versus the demands of our family and, you know, our past and our origins. So, you know, this is, if you have planets here, this is what's really, you know, this is a very, you know, very powerful time for you to be making changes in those particular realms of your life. Now, the other thing that's happening this year, and why I call 2019 the year of deciphering what is true and making it you. Yeah? This has to do with Jupiter. You can see it at 21 degrees of Sagittarius up there. Okay, coming into you can also see that little red line with the little red box. Oh, what's that? Neptune. You want to be glad this doesn't happen all the time. Okay, this is just like bullshit heaven. Yeah? Jupiter goes around every 12 years. Saturn is contraction. Jupiter is expansion. Okay? Jupiter is just more, bigger, fatter, wider, eat, spend, you know, commit, overcommit, overeat, overdo, overextend, overspend, over everything. It's like, yeah, more, yeah. I want to expand, but you know, on a mental level, it's I want to expand my consciousness. I want to travel, more plane tickets, more cultures, and you know, more philosophy and more understanding. And you know, it's just like it's just expansion in every which way, shape, and form. It's Jupiter, and Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. So he's like, yeah, baby, I'm home. He came home in November of 2018. 6 months ago or something, right? You know, and he's going to stay there until December. Yeah. So he goes around every 12 years, and you know, right now he's in Sagittarius, and so he's just like, okay, you know, Sagittarius is, you know, foreign lands, foreign journeys, foreign travel. Expand your consciousness through, you know, new religions, new belief systems, new understanding, new teachings. new meetings with remarkable men and women. You know, it's just like, go on the quest. Leave the known, leave the comfortable, leave what you were told, okay, and go off. Indiana Jones, you know, Monty Python in search of the Holy Grail. In fact, you know what? We just came from Spain and I saw the Holy Grail. It's in the church over there. Did you know? In Valencia. Yeah, they got the Holy Grail. I found the Grail! It was a big day for me, you know. It's like, wow. Cut it out. Okay, so anyway, you know, so this is going on, you know, and this is like we all want to be, okay, doing this. We all want to, you know, go to talks on astrology or the Conscious Club or whatever. I mean, this is, you know, expansion of consciousness. You know, Sagittarius is the sign of gurus and teachers and philosophers, higher education. This is a great year to be going back to university, you know, or back to school, or, you know, just learning something new, expanding our consciousness in new ways, in new realms, right? Getting some new ideas and letting go of some limiting core beliefs. Yeah, you know, I used to believe the world was flat. Just kidding. I get flack from the flat earth people now. What can I say? I'm an astrologer. Things are round. Anyway, don't record that. We'll edit it out. So anyway, you know, but you know what I'm saying? We all have limiting core beliefs that were instilled within us by a limited, you know, parental, societal environment that itself was limited. And so we are breaking free with every, you know, new thing that we learn, grow, you know, to break out of that old. Now, in addition to this Jupiter, though, see, this is the tricky part, is Neptune. Now, Neptune, I should have started with Neptune because Neptune goes much slower. It goes around every 165 years. It spends 14 years in a sign. And it is the ruler of everybody? Pisces. So it's like, oh my God, Jupiter's home in Sagittarius. Saturn's home in Capricorn. Neptune is home in Pisces. And they're all kind of like, you know, I'm stronger now. So this was from 2010, 2009, 10 to 2024. So it's right there at 18, 30 degrees in the sign. It's a little past halfway, right? So, you know, and this Neptune Pisces, in fact, the orbit of Pluto is elliptical, and Pluto actually comes inside the orbit of Neptune. In 1999, okay, Pluto came inside the orbit of Neptune. Neptune is now the farthest out there, you know, planet, you know, well, now with Eris, Sedna, but, you know, so it's a very, you know, slow-moving, okay, fellow, and it goes beyond, okay, our limited, it rules the collective unconscious. It is mysticism. It's the mystical. It's the magical. It's chaos. It's beyond logical, rational, ego reasoning. I like to call it divine intelligence, but to us, it's chaos, and it's dangerous. Okay, and it's, you know, it can be very scary. There's no top, no bottom, no right, no wrong, no boundaries, no limits, no, you know, like nothing to hold on to grab onto, to give us any kind of security whatsoever. It's I am you and you are me, and I can't tell the difference. Did you think that or did I think that? Did you just say that? Are you feeling that, or is that my feeling? I mean, it's just like, you know, you get into these spaces, you know, these psychic realms, you know, where everybody's high, and we're all one, you know, and it gets very confusing very fast, yeah? And so this is, you know, this is multi-dimensional reality, And this is very dangerous when it's not, how can I say, balanced, yes, with maturity. Because on the one sense, like I say, it's the alpha and the omega, the beginning and the end. It came before Aries, so it's infinite potential, it's innocent, it's naive, it's anything goes. Everything's okay. It's all good. We get a lot of that these days with Neptune and Pisces, but it's not. In fact, then it comes out and it goes all the way around, and then it is the mystical, enlightened, opened crown chakra that has extrasensory perception and is able to, perceive other subtle spiritual worlds, okay, and reveal, okay, great mystery through, channel, right? Bring in through these deeper awarenesses of what the greater cosmic subtle energy, is sharing and what is existing at that time. So it has to actually do with the end of illusion. Neptune wants to bring us into a place of showing us what is our illusions. And it does that through disillusionment. The most difficult human experience. What I thought was real is not real. Who I thought you were, you are not. The future I thought I had planned is not. Like what I invested in, okay, my time, energy, attention, this relationship, job, family, house, career, whatever, is not what I anticipated, thought, hoped for, wanted, I had innocent dreams and illusions, and Neptune wants to bring me, okay, it's like, the 5-year-old or the 7-year-old going to school. The end of innocence is the beginning of education, which is the beginning of pulling the truth out of the individual. So this is a time period from, like I said, 2010 to 2024, where there's a lot of disillusionment. And that disillusionment is a lot of letting go of dreams, hopes, wishes that were kind of, innocent, but not based in reality, not based in truth, not based in what my destiny, what my potential, what my unconscious soul intention is for this lifetime. I thought I was this, I thought I was that, I thought I was going there, but guess what? My soul spiritual intention is actually wanting to go there. So it's like we are all getting adjusted. It's like our compasses. We're all sailors, okay? And and our boat is getting brought back on course. And this involves letting go of some illusions. They are illusions. And this can be very painful. This is the process of maturity, maturing, becoming more objective. This is another part that has so much to do with this age of Aquarius, okay? And, of course, Saturn. Saturn and Pluto, Saturn and Capricorn, has to do with maturity and objectivity. Becoming more, it's like the elder sitting bull, okay, Chief, Seattle, okay, when we come into this elder phase,
It's not about me. It's about the next 7 generations. It's about the future. It's about Gaia. It's about the children's children's children. It's just like, you know, it's becoming this more objective elder that is able to make choices and decisions now based upon what I personally desire, want, am attached to. It's like becoming servants of humanity, becoming healers. Now what's going on here is we had a whole generation of people, okay, born between 1957 and 1972 that have Pluto in the sign of Virgo. So Neptune is coming around and opposing, okay, you know, that whole soul group. Maybe I should not have gone there. Oh, man. But this is a soul group of healers. Healers. You know, this is you know, Pluto is in your natal birth chart. I say, I read every chart by looking at your past with a theme, a plot, and a character. Pluto is the theme, the plot is the south node of the moon, and the character is the moon. These are the 3 points in the chart that will reveal all of the past life energy. Yeah? And so this is, you know, Pluto, you know, you can go with soul groups. Okay, from 72 to 84, Pluto was in Libra. A whole soul group of, you know, souls with past lives wanting to bring peace, harmony, balance, beauty, and justice. Okay, so, you know, we have a bunch of lawyers that incarnated, okay, between 72 and 84. Then we have a bunch of shaman, sorcerers, and witches, okay, you know, from 84 to 96. Pluto going through Scorpio. It's like, whoa, these are the heavies. Right? And then Pluto went through Sagittarius from 96 to 2008. We have the gurus. Okay, these are the teachers. Now we've got Pluto going through Capricorn. Bunch of bosses. Telling their parents how to raise them. It's like, well, you know what? You're messing it all up, man. You know, I mean, it's like, okay, you know, I mean, there's big, powerful soldiers. But, and then what also happens is, you know, between ages 38 and 40, you get Pluto square Pluto. So wherever Pluto is, like right now, okay, these people that are 38 to 40 actually had a Saturn-Pluto conjunction in Libra around 80 to 82 or so, I think it was, yeah? Anybody here got that going on? You know what I'm talking about. You guys are in your freaking Pluto square, baby. Super big time, okay, for your natal, you know, potential to now take form, become solid, be visible. It's time to wear those big shoes that are too big. You think you can't fill them, but you are ready. Yeah, very powerful time when Pluto squares Pluto, age 38 to 40. Yeah, okay. But it will be 40 years from now when this Pluto is in Aries. Okay, that, you know, we're going to get the results of all of the, you know, all these kids that are being born now around, you know, around what? Well, around everything, but particularly, I talked about this is the gender axis. This is our genetics. This is family. It used to be dad and mom. Now it's, you know, whoever makes the rules and is the boss versus who nurtures and loves you unconditionally. But, you know, could be neither of them, but whatever. You chose those. And, you know, so but what we do have a whole group of souls now coming in to where this is also where we have a series of lifetimes. It's usually 8, we usually have 8 lifetimes to fulfill a particular soul intention. And a lot of times that has to do with being in a particular physical, sexual body of male or female. Yeah? And then when that, when that intention is fulfilled, we change and we shift. Or maybe being, in this female body is not serving. Maybe we've gone, like way off key or off balance or whatever. And we decided, you know what, I got to come back into a male body. And just, kind of bring myself, into this. So, this is a time period. And the way that it's determined, you can look at your own natal charts. If you have Pluto and or the moon's nodes in the 4th or the 10th house, or in the sign of Cancer, the sign of Capricorn, no matter what house, you have done a recent gender switch. Yeah? And it can take 2 or 3 lifetimes for you to get used to a new sexual body, a new physiology that comes with it, a new set of hormones and a new set of desires and a new set of socio-cultural conditioning and a whole new this, that, or the other thing. And you may very well want to go back. It's like, whoa, please, let's not go there. Yeah? So we have a whole group now, okay, and this is redefining, right? Just as we're coming out of the patriarchy, we're also giving birth to new, okay, socio-cultural norms and conditions, okay, that, have to expand in order to open up to new forms of gender expression, even to this place of androgyny. When we come into the spiritual stages, if I go into those evolutionary stages, there's actually at the end of this, okay, there is where that sexual urge, need, and desire, okay, that creates so much passion and so much attachment, and so much has to do with our identity of who we are, moving beyond that biological, physiological, hormonal, okay, all these chemicals, being released from our brains and glands at different times in our life, and and moon cycles and whatever, moving into this place of peace, harmony, and contentment with our bodies, with our emotions, with our, with actually self-acceptance, wholly, fully, and completely. This brings you into a place of kind of, where you have balanced the masculine and the feminine. So we can say maybe that 1% of the population is naturally androgynous, or naturally celibate, or naturally kind of, beyond the pull of, or the need, or the attachment, or the identity defined by, my physical sexuality, or my, conditioning around my sexuality. So, this is another issue that is like really big from now until, like I say, Pluto moves out of Capricorn in 2024. So we're still in this time period of new souls coming in, okay, and, we've got, even, parents now. It's like, okay, they're going to decide, their gender by themselves, without me, imposing a particular identity on them. And, this is new territory, right? And, the pluses and minuses of that will be felt, okay, 40 years from now when Pluto, squares itself in Aries. It's putting a lot of weight and a lot of burden on the children. Yeah, it's kind of relinquishing our role as, parents, or guiding authority figures, to put those kinds of choices, on a child. But, we're going to see where it all goes and what all happens with it. But I wanted to, maybe before we close, I want to just deal with this Jupiter square Neptune, okay? Because it came in very strong in February, and Jupiter, you can see, is now retrograde. It's at 21. It's going to go back to 18, okay, in July, and it's going to, in August, it's going to go direct again and come back for a third pass in September and hit Neptune 3 times. January, June, and November, I think. October, yeah. And so, this is a time period where, so much of it, I don't know how far I want to go. We can go back to 2009, back when Jupiter was conjunct. Whenever you have these aspects, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's your Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in 2009. That was a seed, okay? This 2009 was a seed period of this is the dream. This is the ideal. This is the possibility. This is the potential that I want to believe in, that I want to create, that I want to make happen. Okay, that even society at large, because it happened in the final degrees. This is you can see, Chiron, Jupiter, Neptune. If you remember that time, I remember that time for sure. May of 2009, I was in Israel at that time. Super powerful period of our, And anyway, so that's the seed. It's like a new moon, right? And then, 3 years later, boom, 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 2012, right? Jupiter comes into a square. Squares Neptune in 2012. And then, 3 years later, right? Jupiter comes around and opposes Neptune in 2016. And now, finally, it comes around for the 3rd quarter square. It's a 270-degree square. Not all squares are created equal. So it's like the seed happened. In 2012, it was time to express and create and put those dreams out into the world. And now, what goes around comes around. Or what doesn't go around doesn't come around. This is a period of a crisis in consciousness where I either really put my dreams out there and I really went for it and I put my whole self into it and or I was limited by fear, I was limited by insecurity or, what different causes or purposes, and now I am getting what's coming back is like, reality check, reality check, reality check. This is real, this is not real, this is true, this is not true, this is, going to make it, this is not going to make it. Now is a time, where a lot of disillusionment is happening. And this is particularly true if you have planets in your chart in the middle degrees from 15 to 18 degrees of Pisces, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Gemini. If you've got planets around the middle degrees of those mutable signs, okay, you are really getting confused. Like, what the bleep is going on? Neptune is just like, oh my, this is, it's like you're sailing into a fog bank and then having the winds die down. And you're just like the rhyme of the ancient mariner, you're just waiting for the albatross, it's just like, oh my God, am I going nowhere? It's like nothing ever going to happen. There's nothing ever going to change. I'm just like spinning my wheels and I don't know what's up or what's down or what I should stop doing or start doing or whatever. This is a time for you. And I say with Neptune, Neptune is a 3-year transit. Yeah. So you started feeling it last year, you're dead in it this year, and it's gonna, start to taper off next year. But it has to do with what I call the great sabbatical. It is time for you, I call it spiritualization. If you're having a Neptune transit, you are being spiritualized. It's time for you to step up, back, out, do your yoga, do your meditation, play your music, do your dancing, let go of trying to make money, let go of trying to please everybody. I mean, it's just like, you know what? You need to connect. And that comes through non-attachment. That comes through, devotion. That comes through really opening the heart space and kind of releasing, these ambitions and drives and all the things that come up from this world, and open to this vision of what wants to be born through you into this world from spiritual realms. And that can be, that's a scary journey. That's a lot of, moving into, like we say, the unknown. But knowing, that's what's so cool about astrology, is that you know that, okay, well, this is what's going on now, and, it's going to, progress into, something new. Something different will be born out of that. So it's a very, powerful time. The other side of that, though, is, like I say, and I said in the Paleo report, this is also where Jupiter can, especially in Sagittarius, exaggerate. Okay? And Neptune can be deception. Neptune, also has to do with drugs, alcohol, all forms of addiction, denial, avoidance, just kinds of storytelling, making up all kinds of, justifications and rationalizations for anything goes, and I'll be whoever I want, do whatever I want, say whatever I want, go wherever I want. I am just like completely, I have no responsibility. Yeah, I have no integrity. I mean, it can just be, this can be a thing where, and this is where you've got, like I said, politicians, and you've got clergy, and you've got scientists, and you've got so many people that are just full of it. Telling stories. This is the, true and false paths of spiritual investigation. It was a series of lectures by Rudolf Steiner back in the early 20s. It's like, this is a time of being very, awake to false teachers, false teachings, lies, that perpetrated upon the masses. This is fake news. I mean, I don't think I'm telling you anything you don't know. It's all out there. Everybody, is like saying anything to hold on to whatever little bit of security they've got. If it's their job, if it's their position, if it's their, family, if it's their spouse, if it's their whoever, it's like everybody's kind of like, this is a time of, like I say, Neptune in Pisces is like dissolving everything. Pluto moving through Capricorn is, removing, anything that was physically secure. So the whole planet is going through, what you want to understand is that we're all going through this, eye of the needle now, where there is a tremendous amount of fear, insecurity, instability, as the old gets taken down, away, and we do not yet know what the new is. And what we want to do is get into a place of, that's okay. It's okay not to know. We will know in time what we need to know when we need to know it. What we want to be doing now is, and I mean, I really feel like this is such a time of healing. Healing. If there's anything that you can hold on to for security, okay, right now, it's that everything, everybody, the entire planet needs healing. As an individual that has any form of art, music, dance, poetry, okay, massage, touch, singing, any kind of art can help people to heal. It can be a therapy of assisting people to getting in touch with their spiritual core, their spiritual center, their spiritual identity. And this can be healing. And this is what everybody needs right now. We all need healing from our wounds. And this healing comes through each and every single one of us. Yeah? So we are all healers, not only of ourselves, but of the planet, okay, of the air, of the water, of the animals, of the people, it's all about healing as Neptune moves through Pisces. Yeah? Easy peasy. I didn't even have to talk for 2 hours. I could have said that at the beginning. Giving you guys all a break. But for now, I think we're going to call that good. Namaste.